Okay, this is probably going to be a reasonably long journey I'm going to have to take before I fully understand exactly name the trade. So this is like my second step in this video. Now I watched Ask Yourselves like original name the trait explanation in my last upload, and I'll be honest, it seemed extremely convoluted to me, and for me to begin to like respond or think about it, basically any kind of discussion I would have to be like exponentially more fucking complicated than his video, if that's possible. And I don't want to do that. So what I've done instead is I've basically boiled down what I think name the trait is. And I'm not trying to straw man anybody here or anything like that. I'm just saying this is so far what I understand name the trait to be in a simple kind of two-sentence kind of thing. Okay, so this is what I think it is. If you believe in basic human rights, you must extend those same rights to an animal, unless you can show that the animal has a characteristic that would negate those rights in a human, or your worldview is contradictory. Now, if anyone watching can explain to me why this is not name the trait and why I've got it wrong, then please do so. I've already had comments saying that like I've kind of got it wrong, but I'm interested in more opinions about it, and specifically why. Now I know that I've missed some things out. For instance, I've missed out mentioning value here, but just for the sake of brevity, basically if you believe in basic human rights, then you're basing that on the fact that you believe humans have value anyway, most of the time. I mean, we don't need to talk about every single possible unlikely exception to that. So some other brief summaries of it that were left in the comment section was okay, what's the difference between humans and animals? If humans lack this difference, would it be okay to kill and eat them? So I'm not going to talk about this one in this video because it's got this kind of lacking a different sort of little bit of muddy water confusion going on, which is difficult to really respond to. I want something clear to respond to, which is why I wrote my summary. And this other one, name the trait missing in animals, that if missing in humans instead of animals would justify slaughtering humans for the same reason. Well, this one's like maybe a little bit more clear, but it's jumping straight to justifying slaughtering humans for the same reasons. And that's the kind of that's part of the sort of what I see as a trick of the long-winded name the trait. You know, it's like it's talking about justifying and eating humans. It's like you're having to defend kind of killing and eating humans, which is not what it's about. We're talking about justifying slaughtering animals, and that I believe that's a different thing. And in later videos, hopefully I can explain why. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to respond to the clip that was in Ask Yourselves video, which was by where James Aspey is talking to some like Irish dude, and he pulls out the name the trade thing, and he uses pretty simple language, so I'm going to try and respond to that in this video and see how that goes. Okay, so I did watch this video the whole way through earlier today, and but what I'm going to do, I'm going to start it from like quite a way into it, just where it sort of starts getting relevant about name the trait, which is what I'm trying to understand, and I'll just respond to what he says. Okay, so I have watched this video once through earlier today, which is quite interesting, which is why I want to make a video about it. But I'm going to respond like sort of live to it, see See what he says again.
At the end of the day, if I know where it came from, I'm more inclined to be sympathetic, I suppose is the word you want to use.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, I just see it as, okay, it's going to sound very bad, but I just see cows, pigs, sheep, or whatever. They're a means to an end sometimes.
Yeah.
They're mass produced for mass population, and that's just the way it is at some point.
Totally. I tell you how that like, because I used to think the exact same thing. So I tell you how like that makes me kind of feel for you, man. You know, I feel sad about that for you because they're so much more than just a product on the supermarket shelf. You know, they're innocent beings. They feel pain and suffer. They have their own family. They have their own emotions. They're just like us in so many ways. You know, we're animals too.
Yeah. All right.
Like, we have things in common with them, but and yeah, I mean the innocent beings in a way that like they don't have the same sort of morality sort of thing that we do, so they're going to be innocent, but it seems like he's painting them like as I know where he's going with it because I've seen it. He's basically saying they're like children, okay, and they're not human children. Like in the society that we live in, like the greater organism, they serve a purpose, and that purpose is to provide food and to convert things that we can't eat into food, and lots of other things that they do. Like, I'm not talking about factory farming. I'm talking about like the role that animals do serve to humanity and have for a long time. They're not human children. They're still part of humanity, but they're not human children.
I understand that concept.
And so, and you know, nothing personal, but and because I was like this as well. So, for everyone who sees it so easy to reduce such a complex, intelligent life form that we share this planet with, like our neighbors, like our cousins, to reduce them to just a momentary palate pleasure their entire life, to kill them just for a flavor.
It's not just a flavor. It's like a resource for the collective that they belong to. Okay, like the collective that they belong to includes humans, and they provide a food source for us, and we provide protection for them and food sources for them, so protection from other animals and favourable access to food themselves. It's a symbiotic relationship.
It's sad to me, brother, because, you know, I just think that we are dumbing down, we're numbing ourselves to who.
We don't just like share the world with them, we share the world with them together on mutually beneficial terms. Like I say, I'm not talking about this factory farming thing. It's going a little bit off topic with the factory farming.
They really are, in order to be able to do something very cruel. And
okay, but in that concept, you're not going to go to the field and go, oh, how are you, Jeff, to a cow.
Does it matter though?
No, it doesn't matter in that sense, but in the same context, I personally believe you can't put a fucking cow or a sheep or a pig on the same level as yourself or myself.
You don't have to though.
No, but what I'm saying is...
what I'm saying is you don't have...
It's a life form, it's a being.
But they have a heart, they have a brain. Just because they're not exactly like us, in many ways they are like us. Many, many ways. In fact,
I'd go as far to say that they're part of us, because we live in a larger group which includes them.
Far more ways that they like us than they are not like us. You know?
Give me one explanation where they are like us, than they're not like us.
They feel pain and suffer and don't want to die. They want to live their life, man, just like us. They care for their families. They eat, they breathe, they sleep. They have blood in their veins. They have a heart that pumps that blood. They have a brain that thinks. They live a certain amount of life. They just want to chill, and sometimes they're joyful and sometimes they're sad. Sometimes they're sick, sometimes they're healthy.
But this is a lot of anthropomorphizing. It's like it's perceiving them in human terms. I mean, that's all well and good to do, but they are not human. Doesn't mean we can't respect them, but they're not exactly the same as us, because they share these traits that we perceive in them.
Many ways, man. I mean, in what ways aren't they like us would be a question I'd ask you.
As I said to you a minute ago, I don't see them as...
But why? Like, what about them is so different that it justifies us killing them just because we like how they taste?
Yeah, it's not that we like how they taste. As I said, it's they provide a service to the greater collective in converting food, like foodstuffs that like the rest of us can't eat. It's not just about taste. That's like making it like really simple. It's like, you know, and also he's talking about, he's focusing on just one part of their life cycle, which or their role, which is like when they die. That's a small part of their life. Okay, like that's like the end. That's like the end part of their life. It's not the whole part of it.
For me, it's always been what I grew up with, right?
It's been what, sorry?
It's what I grew up with.
I know.
I've never...
But thinking about it now, can you think of a certain trait that they do or don't have that justifies us doing that to them?
Yes, the trait that I can think of is the purpose that they serve in the greater collective that they are also a part of, which is humanity. Like, I include them in humanity. They said that the role that they serve is to provide meat and other things like dairy and leather and historically things like, you know, work transport and stuff like that, plowing fields and stuff. Like they provide that to the collective. It's the right word, trait. They have or have had a different purpose. Well, they still have that same purpose. They still provide food. That is their contribution. So you could call that a trait. I believe that's a trait.
I don't know. I think it's... How do you explain this?
I think if there is one.
No, I can't give you an answer. I can't.
Okay.
I can't
cool.
think, but
Can I tell you what I think the answer is?
Mm-hmm.
The thing that most people, why they view animals differently, is because of speciesism, which is a discrimination against other species, and we have a superiority complex, just like white people used to have against black people, and some still do, but it was...
Well, there might be like some truth to that, but I think this idea of speciesism, is it speciesist to recognize that that a cow has a different role in society and a different contribution to make than a person does? It's a little bit like with the sexism. Like, I mean, I might be old-fashioned, but I don't believe it's sexist to identify that the different sexes have different roles in society. Like the main one being that like women, well, they can give birth to children and men can't. So like, is that sexist? Well, if it's sexist to say that, then it's speciesist to say that animals have different roles in our society.
It's very widespread then, and just like men used to against women, sexism, racism, and now we do the same thing with other species. Even though there isn't a trait, you know, that's why I asked. If you can think of one, let me know. But if you can think of a trait that they do or don't have that justifies us killing them just because we like how they taste.
It's not that we just like how they taste, and like I say, it's not a trait. It's a purpose, and the trait could be that the trait is that they can convert food that is inedible to the vast majority of the rest of the collective, which is including humans, dogs, and cats. They can convert food stuff into meat that we can eat. So that has allowed us and still allows us to survive and thrive in areas of the world that we otherwise couldn't.
Tell me, but I don't think there is one, and I think the reason why we do it is simply because we are prejudiced. We can, and we're prejudiced against them just because they're a different species. They look a little bit different. Everything inside is the same, you know, and even a lot of what they do on the outside is the same. We're so similar, man. and yet we treat them worse than we treat the worst sex offenders, the worst child molesters, the worst murderers. That's how we treat them, and they're...
Well, I agree like that we shouldn't be mistreating animals, and there should, I even think, like be some kind of bill of rights for the animals like cows and chickens and shit, so that they don't have to live in like really kind of bad, distressing factory farms and stuff. So I'd agree with him on that point, but this guy is a vegan. He seems to, I'm just putting words in his mouth, abolition, like not eating animals at all, which I don't think is practical or realistic. But yeah, like we should, and we shouldn't be treating them disrespectfully and cruelly now. But I don't think that looking after an animal all its life and rearing it, and then at the end of its life killing it for the purpose for its contribution, which is meat, is necessarily cruel if it's done in a sort of, if it's done for the right reasons.
The most innocent and the most vulnerable beings on this planet, they've never done a thing wrong, man. So what we do is actually, it's like doing it to children. They're not humans, I know, but in terms of how innocent they are and how vulnerable they are, it's like we're doing it to children. And in my opinion, the more vulnerable the victim, the greater the crime. So I think that because of that, it actually is even worse to do this to them than it would have been if they were like, for example, killing a lion. Okay, well maybe they would have killed you, but pigs and cows and chickens and fish, they would never even done anything to us, man.
So like, I think I can put myself in his headspace, and from where he sees it, this makes complete sense to him. But I see the world in a bit of a different way, so I can't get on board with this idea that they're innocent like children and deserve protection, like from cruelty being murder. Like I don't see it like that. Like I see it as they're part of humanity, and that the part that they provide is as a kind of as a foodstuff, and it's a symbiotic relationship. We look after them for that purpose, and they get to live out their life, and the sacrifice they make is food at the end of the day. And I'll say this again, it doesn't apply to factory farms, which is something I personally don't agree with myself.
And we just, it's so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary to continue doing it. So good people.
But this is an argument, like, is it necessary in this day and age? I'd say for the populations that we have in the areas that they live, then at the moment it is necessary. Think of all the calories and stuff provided by fishing. Like, you can't grow crops on the sea. Yes, you can farm seaweed, I suppose, but you can't get rid of fishing like right now, I don't think, and have the same populations living in the same places in the same numbers that we do now. And the same with meat. Like, I don't think we can replace them. I might be wrong, I might not have done my research, but in the future there might be a time when we don't need to, and then this question would be valid, like, do we need to still be doing this?
Otherwise, good people who wouldn't go out of their way to harm a human and who wouldn't go out of their way to harm an animal, I think it's really important for those people to realize, hey, okay, what we do to animals is cruel and it's violent, and it adds to more negativity in this world, in a world that already is full of that. And the least we should do is stop our contribution to animals getting stabbed in the throat unnecessarily.
It's not unnecessary to slaughter them, because their purpose is to provide food. So, I mean, you say stabbing in the throat, but what he's talking about is the slaughtering. The slaughtering is like an essential part of the process. And when he says cruelty, like, it depends what you mean by cruelty. Like, I do think that there's no need to be cruel to domesticated farm animals, and I think that a lot of the farming that's kind of accepted nowadays where it's become over-industrialized is cruel, and that's definitely like an issue. But like I said, this guy's coming, I believe, from a point of view that we shouldn't eat meat at all, and that all meat is indefensible.
Basically, isn't that the least we should do if we claim to be non-violent, peaceful, respectful people? And if you don't claim to be that, shouldn't that be something we strive to be? Because isn't that really the goal, man? To treat others the way that we'd want to be treated, to be kinder, more peaceful people?
So said Jesus there. And I'll just say, like, I sort of like this guy's style. Like, this is somebody you want on your team. So the vegans are lucky to have this guy, because he's got a good way with people where he can confront them without being confrontational and arsey, and he doesn't seem to be intimidating. I see often with these people, the body language can be quite like aggressive, but with him it's not too bad. Like I see it often. He's got, like, I'm not a body language expert, but if I was him, I wouldn't be intimidated by him. He's got his jaw raised and stuff, but he's not like kind of in this guy's face. And I see some of the other people that do this sort of outreach or whatever, they can be quite aggressive. He's got a really nice manner, which is good for him.
What do you think?
I get it, I understand it, but again, as I said, it's a hard concept to get past, right?
It's something we've been doing a long time.
So people, like that, people just have blinkers. People see.
We've been doing it a long time, and we've been doing it for the right reasons for a long time, and it's like I say, it's part of the collective humanity that we are. These animals are part of it. You can change the discussion if you talk about modern practices, factory farming, but we've been doing it a long time, which is why these animals have a part in our culture, and we have ideas around about how we treat them, because it's essential to the purpose that they provide for the greater organism that they are part of, which is humanity.
Cow, they see the burger.
Yeah.
90% they don't see the process.
90%
okay?
they don't even see the cow.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I get that. Right, but or even in my restaurant, we genuinely try source free ranged, right? Now I understand the slaughter is still the same.
Yeah.
But we're under not the belief, more of the fairness, I suppose. A happy cow is a fatter cow, and a fatter cow is a tastier cow. I know it's it's probably insensitive to say it now, but
see, this is what we need, man. Like, if it's factory farming, that's a problem. Like, it seems like these vegans will use factory farming to attack all meat eating, but really, like, the common sort of thing that everyone seems to not like is factory farming. What we don't have is, like, so, like, I lived with this guy, right, and he used to literally, like, people say they do this, but this guy did. He actually would go to the farms where you'd buy his meat, like, unannounced, and check him out and stuff. And that's more because he was, like, sort of real culinary guy. Like, he wanted the best, but it was also because he thought that the animals that are treated the best, like, taste the best. Now, imagine if there was an app that someone made where it could provide that reassurance to anyone that the food that they're buying, it is from a place that is treating the animals with respect and keeping them in, like, high conditions. Like, this could be good for people that are concerned about factory farming. It could be good for people that are just concerned about the quality of the product that they're buying, and the overall result would be actually, like, less meat being consumed, because it would be a bit more expensive to look after these animals if there was a demand for this service, which I think there would be, and the animals that were, there'd be more animals living better lives, basically. Somebody should get onto that and make a fucking app.
that's the way we view it, and that's the
Something where you can literally, like, just scan the fucking steak that you're buying, and it goes onto the farm, and there's, like, reviews where people have visited the farm and stuff, or photos, or these farms have open days, and you can literally see where it's come from. That would be
that's the way we view it, and that's the way I view it.
Sure.
And
Well, who knows, potentially, I mean, people not necessarily change overnight, but I think, I didn't even used to care about animals at all, bro. I didn't even like animals. I'm not even an animal lover now. I just know an injustice when I finally see it. I always thought we needed to eat animals to be healthy. When I learned that we don't, I thought, okay, well, why do we do this to them?
I'd say some people don't. Not all. I think that some people don't do well without having a little bit of meat or a little bit of animal product now and again in their diet. That's just my anecdotal belief.
And when I couldn't find a better reason than because they taste good, then it became a serious injustice. Yeah, a serious injustice, man. And, oppression shouldn't be something that we continue to participate in if we understand it. And when we have it completely, a whole nother path to walk, a way that is more healthy for us and better for the environment and saves so many lives from a life of suffering and misery, or even if they didn't just go through that, from being murdered, then I think, man, like what better way, what better thing can we do?
Like, we're switching words in there. We're calling slaughter murder. And if you accept that, then you're accepting this guy's worldview. I don't accept that slaughter of an animal that's been bred for the purpose or raised for the purpose, or that's his contribution. Meat. I don't think that is the same as murder. And that's because I don't see animals as exactly the same as humans. I think that we have different relationship with them. That's just my belief.
To help others out of their suffering, to increase the peace, to reduce the violence, and just such small choices like we choose almond milk instead of cow's milk, or we choose the vegan meat instead of the sausages made from killing a pig.
No, like milk. I don't like milk. It tastes shit. I do eat cheese, but if I'm going to get milk and I've got a bit of money, I'll get cashew milk. Otherwise, I'll just put water on my muesli.
So easy to do. You probably know all the vegan foods out there now, man, being a chef.
Yeah, sorry, but like, there's two things I haven't quite got yet, and that is they haven't got vegan cheese right, and they haven't got vegan fake meat right. Not yet. Like, if somebody wants to really make a contribution to, like, I'm not going to say veganism because veganism is about the abolition, it seems, nowadays of meat. But if they want to reduce dairy, someone needs to provide a cheese, a non-dairy cheese that has the same addictive properties, the same chemical, the same drug that is in cheese that makes cheese so fucking good. That's what needs to be done. Someone, if these vegans really want to make a difference against the dairy industry, like, beat them on their own ground, okay? Like, somehow find a way to get that drug into vegan cheese. Because if you can do that, I'll be buying it.
Pain in the bollocks, but yeah, I know what you mean.
What was that?
I said they're a pain in the bollocks, but I know what you mean.
What do you mean?
Just when you're organising the menu now, you have to fucking substitute for everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, look, man, it's kind of the way of the future, I think. Even guys like Bill Gates are investing in plant-based meats. Even the CEO of, I can't remember what it's called right now, but one of the biggest chicken producers in America.
KFC?
Nah, it's not KFC. It'll come to me. But anyway, they're investing in vegan meats as well, man. I don't know. I think there's a big trend going in that direction, and
exactly, a trend.
I think there might be a trend in eating less meat, but I think the trend of veganism, which is like absolute, it's like an absolute, like, not eating any animal products at all. I think that is a bubble. I don't think it's going to get much bigger. I think it's maybe close to getting as big as it's going to get. But I do think that he's right that there's a trend for people to eat less meat.
But sometimes trends stick, man, and when it's such a good trend, where the food's delicious and it's healthier and it's better for the environment, and people who say they're against animal cruelty can finally live in alignment with that, I see as...
I think it depends on your definition of cruelty. You can live in alignment with not wanting that cruelty to animals. If you believe that, and I'm going to use the word humane farming, which is going to annoy some people. If you believe that there is ways of there's farms and stuff which are kind of like ethical in the way that they raise animals, and that you don't believe that slaughtering that animal is cruel because that's been its purpose in the collective, then it is possible to eat meat and still be against cruelty to animal. Now, if you define cruelty to animal in the terms that he sees the world, then yes, then if you see the world cruelty the way he does, then you couldn't really be eating meat. But that's the thing, like, people have different definitions of stuff, you know?
Absolutely no reason why we can't just choose the almond milk instead of the cow's milk at the same supermarket.
Choose a cashew milk, is better.
In fact, it makes so much more sense to me that in time it will be a vegan world, because I don't have to convince anyone.
No, I don't think it will be a vegan world. I don't think it's possible for it to be a vegan world. Just the way the resources and the food and where we live and this kind of thing, I don't think it could ever be a vegan world. If you want a bit more information on this, you can watch my video about a vegan utopia. I don't think it would work in practice. That doesn't mean that, like, you know, we can't have a world where we eat less meat and less fish. And like he says, it's a trend and it's going to head that way anyway. And eventually it might be cheaper and more efficient to have more of the other kind of foodstuffs in our diet. But when you're talking about completely eradicating all use, like a vegan world, like, fuck, it's, yeah, watch my video on that if you're interested.
Anyone that animal cruelty is wrong, everyone already agrees with that. All I have to do is show people that, and here's the way you live, that's better for all these reasons. It's better in every way. So to me, it wouldn't make sense for the world to continue going the way it is, and even as a sustainability.
It's better perhaps for you, for your personal experience, but I think some people do not do well on vegan diets or the vegan lifestyle, so it's not going to be for everyone. Not everyone's going to live a better life on it. And you're talking about taste and stuff. I've tried the vegan thing sort of like for a short time, just a couple of weeks, maybe twice actually, and both times I didn't feel good on it, and it wasn't. I don't think it was like detoxing and stuff. Like, so one time I felt like just kind of spaced out and a bit like stoned all the time, like not something that I want, you know. And the other time when it was like proper vegan, like, so there's no fucking animal products at all. Like, because I was sort of fairly active then, like, I got like pain in all my joints. So, you know, maybe I was doing it wrong, maybe not, but you know, there's plenty of people out there who long term claim not to have good experiences when they do it, and I think it's like the mixture of people. Some people can thrive on it and some people can't. That's just my belief.
The issue, we can't continue going the way we are because animal agriculture is so unsustainable. So we'll have to change one way or another anyway. But my hope is just that, you know, when you speak to someone and they're a good person and they care for their kids and they, you know, they're not a cruel, sadistic individual. Yeah. I hope it's just that people change by their own wishes, and by doing that, you know, making a choice that is good for them, good for your health.
Some people won't see sort of like ethical farming where the animals are treated like with a bit of respect and stuff as sadistic and cruel. But that's not how they see it. It's not how I see it. Like, but yeah, like factory farming, that could be, it's not so much sadistic, but it's not nice. Okay, it's not like it's not noble.
It's food for thought.
It's food for thought. That's all it is, man. Something to think about.
Yeah, it is something to think about, and I'm not going to lie, it's not something that I've deeply thought about, but it has something.
See, this guy, he would be good for anything if he believes in it, because he's quite good at sort of soft persuasion. Like, you know, I could just imagine if he was a street preacher trying to convert people to I don't know, like a religion or something. He'd be good because he's got this nice way of talking to people where he's not being too arsey with them. He's sort of he's good.
That I have tried. I tried to be a vegetarian when I was a teenager.
Yeah. He's not pushy. That's a thing. He is pushy, but he's not pushy. He's got the skills.
Yeah, right.
Did more.
Yeah.
I've never tried vegan. I've never tried almond milk. I've tried vegan meats before.
Yeah.
I didn't like them, but
That's-
again, taste buds change.
And you know, man, there's a lot out there these days. You didn't like a couple. I've had a couple.
I've never really had a good fake meat. I've had some good like veggie burgers, but they weren't like pretending to be meat. I think when they pretend to be meat, it's like the cheese are missing that like secret X ingredient that makes them meat. So it's like an alcohol-free beer.
Couple of burgers I didn't like out and about, but there's a lot of vegan meats. There's one thing you can do, and I'll just tell you about it, no pressure, but it's free. It's called Challenge 22. It's a free 22-day vegan challenge. You get recipes, you get health info, you get everything. Free mentor. It's something that if you want, you can go and...
So this is a bit like in a conversion where you give out the leaflets or come to... so I've had a little bit of experience with churches, right? This is the bit where it's come to our mass on Sunday, you know, like come to our church, or like, you know, here's read this leaflet, or here's a Bible and stuff. Like, I'm not like saying like it's a religion, but it's a similar thing here. What this is, it's a conversion effort. That's what it is. It's a recruitment, and this guy's very good at it. Now I think from what I see, like the vegans don't seem to have too much of a problem with the recruitment. What they seem to have is a problem with is retention. And what they have in like some of the small churches and stuff, the what do you call it, fucking evangelical type ones, is they very much look after the new converts, because you're going from like one world view to another, one entire world to another. It's very easy to revert back. And so these people here, like, they're handing out this 22 days thing. Okay, that's 22 days of support. Like, what happens after that? Like, the issue for them, and I don't really want to help them, but they should be focusing on retention, and that's what the evangelical churches do. What they actually have is they have special people that are trained, and this is like their purpose within the organization to look after these new recruits for like long time, man, like to keep them involved, to help them with the sort of crises and faith and stuff, which is gonna happen, I'd imagine, to these people, you know, like going from one world to another, and it's going to be easy to revert back to the old way, which is, I think, like that's the way I live anyway. So like I kind of see it as the right way, but they need to maybe work on supporting new people and keeping them in and that kind of stuff.
Just go to the website and sign up for. And, you know, again, man, like,
What's it called?
challenge22.com.
Okay.
It's better for your kids too, man. You know, not putting dairy, that's made to make a small cow into a very large cow. It's one of the most unhealthy foods for humans, but especially children.
Dairy might be like kind of not good for kids, but I personally don't agree with completely restricting meat and fish and stuff from a growing child. That's just my personal belief.
And things like meat, especially processed meats, are in the same level carcinogen as cigarette smoking and asbestos.
So this is the class fucking 1 carcinogen or whatever argument, which bacon might be in the same arbitrary group that somebody's made, but fucking bacon and shit is not going to be anywhere near as carcinogenic, even slightly, as fucking cigarette smoke and shit, and asbestos. And it doesn't serve like vegan activists a good purpose, kind of sprouting that kind of nonsense, because it's anyone who's kind of like critical can look into it and find that is bullshit. Maybe just stick to the facts. The biggest argument here that is most successful for you guys is the ethical one. So why go off of this kind of just misinformation? It's not good for the purposes that you seem to want to do, which is to convert people and retain them.
But all meat, any animal protein is linked to causing cancer, and it's just something that we don't need,
Then
man.
I'm fucked.
Yeah, well, I ate meat every single meal, bro, for 26 years.
He just said like any meat consumption's linked to cancer. Well, that is a bold claim.
So
I eat 3 steaks a day, so
yeah, I was the same. I try to do the same for breakfast. You know, 3
Yeah.
steaks for breakfast if I could. Dude, like there's a better way to live. It's better for everyone. So it's something to think about, like you said.
yeah, I'll have a look at that when I go home now. Just out of curiosity.
Challenge22.com, brother.
Yeah, I'll have a Google it when I go home and see what the crack is with.
No worries, man. No worries. All right, well, Stephen, right?
Cheers, bro.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the chat.
No worries.
Thank you very much.
At the end of the day.
So yeah, in conclusion, that's helped me along with understanding Name the Trade, because you put it in kind of simple language, and the way he put it, like I don't agree with it. Like I say, the trait that I identify is that it's not a trait; it's a purpose. Although the trait could be that providing meat, that could be the trade. Cool. That's the end of that.